Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HR Cartel podcast. Thank you for joining me once more. I'm your host, Tim Dive. Special guest today, but before we get into that, a couple of events we've got coming up that I want to touch on and mention. 20th of November this month, get to the Coffee Commune for a HR Cartel sponsored event with Dominic Lamb. Dominic Lamb was the Queensland Small Business Commissioner. Now, very recently, actually, I think maybe in the last 4 weeks or so, has left that role and is now in a Director of Community Affairs role for the Brisbane 2032 project, which is the Olympics, of course. So there'll be a lot of opportunity to talk about what's happening in the Queensland state leading up to that point, what sort of projects, how to get involved, that sort of stuff. I think right now we're about 50%, I think more than 50% capacity. About 50 or so tickets have been taken up, snapped up. In the show notes, I'll put a link to that here. It's free to go, but you've got to register for a ticket. HR Cartel is paying for your seat, so get along. The other event coming up, I'm speaking at. It'll be the topic is why we need IR reform. So get along to this one. It's on the Gold Coast, 4th and 5th of December. It's an International Small Business Summit. It's being held by the Small Business Association of Australia. It'd be a good one. There's senators on the bill. There's federal ministers on the bill. And I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to actually point out what I think are all the mistakes that our government's making in terms of regulators and talk exactly why we need IR reform. I'm going to be advocating for smaller businesses 100%. So get onto that. I'll also put a link to that in the show notes as well. So it's the 4th and 5th of December at the Gold Coast. Get there. So no longer ado, let's introduce Paul from PD Project Delivery. Paul, thank you for making the effort to come down and join us. You're from Brisbane, and it's a nightmare of a drive. These days, everyone who's from the Gold Coast or makes that trip regularly will know the traffic just doesn't let up. So thank you for making that effort. We appreciate you coming down. Give us an intro. Tell us a bit more about yourself, PD Projects. PD Project Delivery, sorry. Give us a bit of an insight into Paul's world.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Not a hard sale to drive down to the Gold Coast on a Thursday morning, so I'll take it, mate. I'm Paul Doherty, Managing Director, PD Project Delivery. We're a civil engineering project management consultancy based in Brisbane, but working Australia-wide. Civil engineers, PMs, quality, safety, supervisors, you name it. So all the kind of management level of construction jobs, infrastructure, work in mines, work on infrastructure, tunnels, roads, you name it. So you'll probably see us around, or worse, you might have heard me around. So that's how it goes.
Awesome, beautiful. So what led you to obviously I think we can tell by the accent you're not from around here.
Yeah.
It's a big step to go into another country and then start up a business and then work in industries like mining. I spent time in mining. It's a tough old world, and trying to crack that can be. It's a bit more like who a lot more than what especially in Queensland.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what made you what were the stepping stones that sort of led to you going, I'm going to start a company in Australia and start to hit those industries?
To be honest, probably jumping back, when I came here in 2012 with absolutely zero plan of staying here, living here. I was literally coming for a year's holiday, the intention of going backpacking, all the usual dreams that we have, because I was overworking in the winter back home. It was just brutal. So I was like, I need to get to the sunshine. Never been to Australia, came across, went for an interview with Abbey Group back in the day, got told there was a FIFO job available for me if I wanted it. Had to Google what FIFO meant. I had no fucking idea. Took that up to Gladstone, worked for a few years, and just kind of followed the Abbey Group, Lend-Lease, all the tier one kind of companies. And then made my way to Penza after that, around 2014, 2015. Spent a few years with them, which were absolutely brilliant company and Brisbane based. And they'd actually sent me down to New South Wales to kind of run a few jobs.
That's Penza, was it?
Penza, yeah. So they used to be based in South Brisbane, now they're in the Valley. I was down in New South Wales, like the only Penza guy, and just running a few jobs. And very young at the time. I think it was 25, 26.
Engineering?
Yeah. So I was project manager at the time with them. They were a smaller company at that time, but they grew massively. And even today, they're getting bigger by the minute. We ran a few jobs. And then once them jobs finished, I was coming home and I just had a bit of itchy feet that I was young. I was kicking some goals, so I wanted to do a bit more. I jumped into just a set up a company. Initially, it was going to be a few of my mates, engineers. We're going to set up together and go and run something. I won the first contract and then gave everyone a kind of chat in the door, and everybody was busy. So it became me only, and I went solo. So that's been good. And I've no business plan. People talk about these 5-year plans, and I'm big for them now, don't get me wrong, but there was never a business plan. It was just get it to next month and see how we go.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll probably come back and touch on that because I'm the same, and I think maybe my type of business, my skill set, talking about business plans, maybe it's a different world. I'm not too sure, but I'll get your thoughts on that because I've never done one. Never had one. I've had this pure passion and drive just to know what hole I want to plug, and that's all I have. But maybe that is a plan of sorts. But we'll come back to that though, because I think you touch on something really, really important there in between the lines, which is, I think Australia has, especially coming to Queensland, because I'm from Sydney. I came up here 20 years ago, and I had no qualifications, no trade, nothing like that, nothing but a pure drive to do something. And I think there's still that opportunity in Australia, largely in your world as well, construction, civil infrastructure projects, all that sort of stuff, and especially leading up to the Brisbane Olympics. So if you've got that attitude, that drive, I think you can leave a lot of people far behind in your rearview mirror and just succeed and kick goals. Having said that, though, I'm interested to see if you had some difficulties, like some challenges along that way, cultural challenges, anything like that.
English was my first one.
English,
but it's improved a long way. So no, definitely. Like the one thing that I overcame real early, which this isn't some inspirational speech. This is generally I just noticed this. A lot of people are winging life. A lot of us, but everybody thinks that you walk into a room, there's someone that's been there, that's done it 30 years. That's really good. Doesn't mean shit sometimes. And that's what I started learning. I was going to these big companies, doing jobs for them, and sometimes I felt like I was the first person ever to work for them. And I was like, how do you not know what to do? Not nothing like obnoxious feeling around it, but I just felt like, why is this hard? Small things are very difficult, and I'm very open book. I'm very probably loud at times as well, but I'll ask the questions that everybody's thinking, and I'm happy to do it. And I realized that when you start asking them questions, majority of the people want to know the answer, and it's just about putting yourself out there and getting uncomfortable or getting comfortable being uncomfortable, and just putting yourself out there, be the front foot, and then growing the business is hard. Like I remember the first 2 years, you're just trying to earn, you're trying to pay your bills and everything else, and that perception of if I'm not working, no money's coming. Same as if you're full time, but as soon as you got a company, everything changes in your head. But then it was trying to meet clients for coffees, for beers, for things like that. And the amount of lunches and beers I spent, and my wife thought I was crazy. And you don't win the job on that day. You win it 6-12 months later. That's just how the world works. So it's just being consistent, not being too hard of a salesperson, and just back yourself.
Yeah, 100%. There's I have conversations all the time with people, friends, and the people who aren't friends, and just connections about the businesses they want to start and stuff like that. And I just find it really impossible to give advice because I think it's all down to you.
Absolutely,
it's all down to you. And if I can relate this back to my world, there's in our world, the HR world, there's good people in HR and there's arseholes in HR. And it's the same for every industry.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things that people in my world won't do. The hard stuff, the disputes, the Fair Work Commission stuff, challenging unions, taking them on, in reasonable ways. I think. And I think if you're just someone in whatever world that you're in, if you're just someone who's willing to go, you know what, I'll make myself look like an idiot to learn something here. I don't care. I'll put that to the back of my mind. There's something I want to learn, something I want to know and do. You're not going to get that from advice. You're not going to get someone telling you how they did something isn't going to tell you how you're going to be able to do it. It might give you some ideas. Don't get me wrong, but what you're saying there is that you just went for it. You had some support around you, but when the rubber hit the road, you're on your own. And you made it happen.
Sink or swim sometimes as well, and mentality sometimes is head first. And I've got it's very valuable to have good people around you, and that comes at different stages. Like we're at a stage now where I need you in my team, kind of thing.
Yeah.
At that time, I had a business coach. I don't like that term because that annoys me, the business coach, because everybody's a business coach nowadays. But I had a financial advisor, accountant, business coach, good friend of mine who was very supportive and kept me accountable. That was massive for me to get started, because you can't ask your mate, can't ask the family what to do. No one knows what to do. You need someone a bit more educated along the way, and then that team naturally grows as the business grows.
Yeah.
But don't be shy in having a good network around you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also your friends and your family, a lot of advice I've heard over the years is rely on them and that sort of stuff. I just don't think you can. You know, everyone's got their own shit going on. Everyone's got their own world, their own successes to try and have. You know, wins, losses, family pressures, all that sort of stuff going on for themselves in their own world. It is up to you. It's entirely up to you, you know. And the sooner you learn you're on your own, and that sounds a bit dark.
Yeah, it does.
But it's not really.
And you're not shit-canning the family, the friends. They all mean well and want the best for you, but they don't see what you're doing all the time, and they just don't get it. You don't know what you don't know. And you just need to listen to everybody, take all the advice, soak the advice, but make your decision based on what you know and stuff. And it might not always be the best, but life is, you sometimes make the best moves after a bad decision. So
that's right. And just on that, it's a good point you make there too. Because I think, especially in my world, you know, I think there's no such thing as the wrong decision. Whatever decision you made was the right decision that you made, because there's a reason you made it. Where you're more than likely to fuck up after making that decision is when you start to second guess and you don't just 100% drive through with that decision, and you start to take backward steps along the pathway of making that decision work. And I think that's where a lot of uncertainty pulls people apart and even stops them even taking action in the first place. Like, what do I do? Am I here? Am I here? The point is, it doesn't matter what you fucking do. You just got to, whatever you do, you make that work 100% and you go for it. If it's the wrong decision, then you'll know next time. I'm going to go that way next time. And I think that's one of the things that I've struggled to get across to some people asking questions about. You know, how do I start this business? What is the first step I take? What do I do first? Do I get a logo first? Do I get a website first? Shut up. Start talking to people.
100%.
Do that first.
I know business, like we always joke about this, we're not recruiters, right? But we've got people working for us, we second onto jobs. And I've got a lot of young engineers that will say, I want to do what you're doing. And like, I don't get offended or concerned or need to keep a space with that person. I might go for it because I know how hard it is. If you do it, well done. And you look outside and you see the pipeline of work, it's like, there's enough food for everybody. And if you're willing to have a crack, man, I will be celebrating for you, mate, because I know how much you've earned it if you do it.
Yeah, mate. You never get shit canned by someone who's doing better than you are.
You know? Very, very true.
It never happens. And if you're listening to the wrong people, you'll stay there. You'll stay back with those people. That's it. So, you know, well, I'll get to it. There's a reason why I really want to learn this more about you, because, and we'll get to this next, I guess, but because, you know, our people we hire and the people that work with us and for us, contractors and that sort of thing, they don't see all that. You know? They come to work, they do their job, they go home, and God bless them. That's what makes our businesses work, and that they trust us to come and work for us. It's amazing. But there's a whole lot more on the line, and blood and sweat and drive and thought and emotions and collapses and failures, all that allows them to come to work and have a seat, make some money and go home. I think that's some things that are missing in the relationship and connection between employees and their directors. You know, I don't have an answer as to how we make that better. Just
on that, like, it's a constant evolving thing as a business owner, and like, I know that sounds like a cliche thing to say, but the thing I've learned over the years is, like, I was a pretty good engineer because I was hardworking. I'd outwork people. That was my thing. I wasn't the smartest, but I was the hardworking. And then you grow, and then the business comes along, and then you kind of change your role of who you are. Like, now, I've even said to my wife recently that I feel more of a business owner now than I'm engineer, which is kind of scary and humbling at the same time. But then you realize the guys who you still have working for you on jobs that I might be still connected to, you sometimes get the vibe that they think that you're just talking shit on LinkedIn or just posting things, or just going to the bank and cashing in. And it's like, it's if you knew, like, just because you're doing the talking and the network and stuff doesn't mean I'm having a holiday. Like, it's never ending. Your phone always goes, as you know, and it's like you can never take your finger off the pulse because there is someone else there ready to take it off you every day of the week. And as soon as you lose that or gain that complacency, like, it can go to shit real quick. And the bigger you get, your risk actually gets bigger. Which is sometimes I see some people just doing like one-man jobs and stuff. I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. Like, that looks absolutely brilliant. If that was just my life right now. But obviously the pros and cons on both sides. But yeah, I think the insight, and that's not sympathy. I'm not asking, no, poor me. Like, I'm happy, but I think sometimes it gets misled that I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same worker I was 5 years ago, because my whole mindset, my whole attitude towards work is looking at something else now. I'm looking at 2 years down the track now, rather than are we pouring that concrete on Friday? Like, it's different priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'll have a moment of vulnerability here myself. Actually, it was just yesterday, and you know, I'm in the room next door with the team, and I'm saying to them, I'm really struggling at the moment to design my new job. Look, I've got a whole team now, which is great. It's awesome, and they're amazing. Our clients and members love working with them. They get supported really well. So one thing I can say is that they've come on board and really adopted my dream of what we want to, the hole we want to plug, and they're delivering it. I had to say to them, I need your help. I'm struggling to know my own place now, and I have to now redesign my job, which is this stuff, and it's communications, it's sales, and it's strategy, and it's growth stuff, and I don't know how to do it. And I'm going to do the best I can. Like I said before, I've got no idea. I'm just going to, I know what I have to achieve, and I'm happy to look like an idiot doing it. I'm just going to go and learn it. I think that honesty with them, the question I got back right away from that team was, what can we do to help you?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I think that's going to drive a better relationship with your people, to know that, you don't have all the answers, that you're all together trying to do the best you can. I think that's the way. You can't just. There's no other way of that.
No, and just what you're saying there, it's like it's a natural progression, that there is that kind of concept that you change from a mate, a worker, a colleague, whatever it is, until you're just the boss or you're just the owner. You become a company rather than a person. You don't have personal stuff going on. You're just a business. That's all you are. And I think being vulnerable with your people is good. And finding the right people to slip into the positions. Like, we've grew a bit and put a bit more structure in place recently, and it's hard because, exact same as what you said, I had the same dramas. I knew I needed help. I needed help because I was peaking, I was dropping some personal stuff going on, and I felt I couldn't keep a handle. I didn't know what I needed. I knew I needed someone, but then how do you tell people to do what I do? And like, you're probably going to do it better than me anyway, but how do I tell you how to do it? Because I don't even fucking know what I need to do half the time. So it is a humbling transition. And then when people do a good job, you're like, geez, like, I should have done this 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It is an interesting one. I think before I move on, I want to ask you how you deal with these challenges and stuff, because I'm resonating with the things you're saying. I'm like, I felt that way as well. I'd like to know what kind of things you do to sort of take the pressure off yourself outside of the workplace. But it's actually we'll go there now. I'll come back to what I was going to say. I know that I've been to your business. It's an awesome setup. You've got a boxing setup downstairs. Got a beautiful car in there that I throw as well. Might get in the way of some boxing sessions.
It's killing me seeing it every day, but yeah.
And I know that you do awesome things on your socials. If anyone who's not following PD Project Delivery, it's PD Project Delivery on Instagram. That's the handle. I follow it, and I see the conversations you're having with people. Conversations like this, probably about personal development and the importance of it. Ice baths feature in there, I think. Is that what you do to try and break away for a moment and get a new perspective on things?
I've just realised, like, a lot of my circle in the last few years have come through work, some sort of work relationship, which is different and probably a bit of a mutual respect. And that's probably where it comes from. But I just realised that, like, when I was like the site engineer, worked for Abbey Group, you've seen the big bosses, and you're like, didn't want to make eye contact with them, didn't want to, because they are just the big deals. But you realise that everybody's just as loose as you, if not worse, and people are human. They've just got their job on the different levels, and that comes. And I just realised that we're in well, every industry is the same. You're in a people's business, and if you cannot communicate or get along with people, then you're screwed, man. You need to give up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm everybody's cup of tea. I know I'm not, but the wellness is a bit of a cliche thing. And I know some of the stuff I put on social media 5 years ago, Paul would have bashed Paul now for posting half of that stuff. But I realized that people don't care about the fancy technical stuff. Like they do, but not to the same level.
Yeah.
People want to hear you talk, you tell them a story, show them some insight, some raw footage, stuff like that. I think it goes a long way. And even these podcasts, I think it goes a long way because it's not just a logo. It's not just some brand thing that's just down your throat. It's just like, I spoke to that bloke. That's the way he speaks normally, not just when he's on camera or doing it like that. And I think it goes a long way. The wellness, I know, is a bit of it's a 50-50. Some of them things I invite people to and they just laugh at me. They just go, not a chance of you catching me coming to a sauna with you weirdo. So I still cop that side of it. But a lot of people who do come go, actually, I feel good for this. And it's strictly non-work. Like you come there, we talk about family, sport, holidays, traveling, whatever you might talk about. But we're not talking about rates and prices and who's won that job and stuff like that. Just be yourself. And you find that if you get through that floodgate of people actually want to have a chat to you, then the next conversation's how do we work together? Yeah,
that's right. 100%. And I think, we're two men sitting here talking about that. And so from the male perspective of, we talk about, wellness and that sort of stuff, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, it's hard to get us talking about things. And I think podcasts, for me personally speaking, podcasts make me feel like I'm sitting in a room with a couple of guys and I'm getting somewhat of a connection and another perspective and that sort of thing, which is hard to get as a 40-something-year-old male with, divorced male with 2 kids and everyone around me, all married or in similar boats. It's hard to get that time and stuff away. I think that's podcasts and conversations are one of those things, especially for men. And especially for men running businesses and building businesses, it's hard to have them. Hard to have the conversations and connections. So podcasts go a long way for me with that, and the physical stuff as well. I've always so you're a boxer, obviously. You're into your boxing, and you got you spend boxing sessions and that sort of stuff. That's something I always wanted to do. I'm more of a grappler. I'm down that road, but it doesn't matter what you do. When you come out of an hour and a half or an hour of doing that sort of stuff, but the world is off your shoulders.
100%. Yeah, and that's like everybody's got their own personal stuff going on. For me, every time I've been at that place, boxing's kind of been my answer. Like it might sound a bit violent to people who don't understand the sport, but like I'm not necessarily saying going fight in the street, but me going and training for an hour boxing is like everything's out. You just feel good and you let your frustration out, let your happiness out. I've shed a few tears on the boxing bag a few times as well. And then if you're around some good mates, or even some, like, we run them sessions twice a week at the moment, and like it's amazing the random crew I've got. Like some of them I don't even do any work with, never have. They come to every session, we've just became mates through it. And again, exactly what you said, like you would never expect to be this person's mate. We don't have anything in common professional. But now we're training twice a week, every day. Every week, sorry. And
that's the connection that we you need it, so it's going to happen. If you take steps towards doing it, it'll happen. Anyway, that's I guess that's everyone's got their own way of dealing with things. It's not just men who listen to this podcast. I think it's an even split, really. When we look at the demographics, and I work in industry which is heavily female. Which is great, it's a good environment, but we are different. We are really different. And I'm not going to have any shot at explaining from the female perspective. We're not doing that. We'll get back in. No chance. Cancelled. Not at all. So look, I'll go back to the work stuff. I think what I was going to mention before I jump back in this is, one way I think that I've been able to get my message, my beliefs, my values in terms of business delivery and that execution to the team I have now. I think there's 2 things. One is I talk to them every single day. We don't start our day unless we sit down and just talk with each other. I'm plugged into what's happening in court and all sort of stuff, and I'm giving all the information I have. I'm just giving it, and then we talk about what customers will be impacted by those decisions and what we have to warn them about and change our contracts and clauses and things like that. So I'm downloading knowledge, but so I think that does help. The other thing is though, I've adopted a real acceptance of mistakes, and it's kind of extreme. I want it. It's almost like a policy that I've got in the company where it's a mistakes policy. Where if we make mistakes, this is how we make mistakes. We do it willfully. We make a mistake willfully with all the best intentions, and then we go, "Hang on, I made a mistake there. What were my blind spots?"
Yep.
We don't hide anything. It's okay. Like you can come in here.
It's accountable.
You can come in here any day, and it's happened. You know, a team member of mine will come in and say, "I think I just gave bad advice. I think I might have said I've done the wrong thing here." I'm like, "Cool, sit down. Tell me about it. What is it? Let's look at it." If we need to, we'll instantly call the customer. And I've even paid one of our clients thousands of dollars because we told them, try this system, this platform, and it didn't work out. And because we did that, I'm finding my sword. What did you pay them? $3,000? Here's $3,000. Let's fix it for you now. And I think if they see that it's okay to make a mistake and then how to come back from it, I just think that that quality of their working improves and increases, and the honesty and the transparency in their relationships with our clients improves.
And I think that's massive. And like without getting into construction life, that's where I see your biggest problem in construction right now.
Yeah,
there's so many people who know how to make a decision. It's always refer back, have another meeting, have another discussion. Like I've always been big, and again, not always the right way, but you make the decision based on what you know, and because construction costs money, keep moving. Nowadays, it's a bit harder. Bigger companies with different approvals and things, but they even bring in like accreditations now that pretty much if an RPQ, for example, if they make a decision, then they're liable pretty much for everything. So it almost reduces their likelihood of giving you an answer when you need an answer. And I see the problem with that because I'm like, it's okay to be wrong. I'm not saying sign off a bridge that's half built, but sometimes things just need to be, we're doing it for the right reason. We're all moving. No one's out to get each other. So I think you need to encourage people to make mistakes and grow from it. Not negligent, but make it in a proactive way.
Yeah, and that's it. And I wanted to lay that foundation before I asked you, because I know you look at your website and your communication, your messaging, and your company and stuff, and you do have a higher focus on high quality, safety, and all those things that are very important in the civil world. But also, we did a handbook for you, and your values in your handbook, they stick with me, right? Because it's very rare to hear such direct language, expectations, and high performance and accountability in a company's values these days. It's also soft and warm and fluffy and means nothing. But yours were hot. Yours are 3 or 4 words: high impact. They drive accountability. They drive get in there, do the job, get it done, and do it with high quality, with high performance in mind, that sort of stuff. Talk to us about that. Why is that so important to you in terms of is differentiator in the industry, or what makes you act that way?
Well, back to my previous point, just about everyone kind of like protecting themselves is an insurance thing for everyone not making the decision. But I've always claimed that we are get shit done. That's not cowboy mentality. It's not loose. But like I've always said to anyone that joins us, like turn up, give a fuck, and actually be accountable. Like just be there, turn up, and want the work. Don't hide in the corner. Don't be pigeonholed. Like tell them, give me it. Like I want involved. I said because people always go to you as that's the person that we want. And when you're not there, everybody knows you're not there. And if you're not that person, then you're just not a person in the room. And I drive by that mentality in everything I do. Like I can't just have my toes tucked in anything. I'm all in or nothing. And I just feel like that's the way I expect everyone else to be. So it's not always, again, everyone's cup of tea, and there's some positions or places in the world where that wouldn't suit. And I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that now. But that's who we are. Like we turn up and we're in amongst it. If that's what you need. And I think majority of jobs do need that little pit bull running around. Yeah,
100%. I do like what you say there, where it's not everyone's cup of tea. And from my perspective, that's the point. That's the point. I'll criticize the HR board a little bit here. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, and all sort of stuff in big businesses. Okay, fine, it's got its place in there, and I know what you're trying to do. But there's no unity in diversity. There just isn't. You know, I haven't seen it work anywhere. Massive organisations with 50,000 employees, I understand you've got a massive visibility and you've got to sound like you're doing the right thing and that sort of stuff. But you know, with a small and medium-sized business, one thing that I can't reconcile is you get told when you're trying to learn how to set up a business and get it going and attract customers is be very clear about who is your customer. Discriminate, you know, they are this person, they live in this area, you know, so you can target them and that sort of thing. Then all of a sudden we start hiring people and that's all out the window. And now we've got to have a place for everybody in every attitude, every perspective. Sorry, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't work. And someone, it's refreshing to see a business with your values that says, no, unapologetically, this is what we do. Yeah. And if you don't fit that, it's beautiful because it'll self-correct. The person will remove themselves from your business and there won't be problems. Is this something you see? Is there value in that, you think? Or am I just old school?
No, like I'm very hard on my sleeve. Like what you see is what you get with me. And like I said, like I know it rubs up some people the wrong way, but like if I'm in a room and someone's baffling on or something like that, like I'm not rude or obnoxious, but I'll be asking like, does anyone else understand what's going on right now? Like I'll like to ask them questions. And sometimes it's like, oh fuck, here he goes again. But I think you need a driver, even if someone's got to combat me on that and say, no, this is it. It kind of sparks up the momentum for everybody. And that's just not me, it's my team as well. And we do a lot of work, kind of left wing here, but we do a lot of work bringing people from the UK, surprisingly. A lot of Scottish, Irish, and English, and some Welsh as well along the way. And a lot of them come here and they've got like 5-6 years experience, sometimes more in the UK. And they come here and when I tell clients, I'm like, they are green in Australia because they came off a plane on Sunday night, but they're not green engineers. But the one thing I can tell you, and I swear down on this, is every single one of them have that mongrel that they will be there first up in the morning. They will be in amongst everything and they want to work. They're not here for the privilege of having a job, but they're turning up. And that's what I say, if you do that, everything else will fall in place. Don't worry about all the experience and learning the specs and stuff like that. That will come very fast. Just turn up and just don't give up.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with that. Now, I've worked for a Scottish company called Wood Group. It's called Wood now, and you know, in that business, there were so many UK engineers. It was an engineering firm. You know, they won multiple projects in Australia. They were working on the GLNG project and QGC, which is the Queensland Gas Corporation LNG projects back in the day. There, for those who aren't familiar with the resources industry. And I've got to say, you know, there weren't just UK engineers there. There were people from Iran and all over the place, right? But their focus on execution and delivery and, as you say, getting shit done, I thought I belonged there. I felt that I could speak the way I wanted to speak, and it would be listened to and respected and heard, and not people wouldn't be scared of it, because you can be constructive. You can say, you can call things out and say, that's wrong. How do we fix it? Who thinks I'm right? Who thinks they're wrong? You can be so direct, but I think these days companies have gone so far down the other way that they think that's aggressive, or it's, you know, like I said before, the diversity and equity and inclusion thing, everyone's got to have their say. Well, no, they don't, mate. You know, the people who can move the ball have to have the say, and that's okay. It's a refreshing environment to work in. Am I explaining your workplace well?
Absolutely. And I've just noticed what I'm saying, that I am not bagging out Australians by any means. I've got a wife and a little boy Australian, so I ain't going down that path. But it's just more of a cultural thing I've noticed, and Australia's an excessive boom and coming to a bigger one, which I'm happy to talk about soon as well. So it's not about that. It's just more their mentality, just getting amongst it. And whereas the Australians have been brought up through this beautiful country, amazing opportunities, that it's just natural that they've got the work in front of them. Like it's not that same pressure behind them, as I don't think. Yeah,
that's right. And also, now I grew up here. But I think your upbringing, your background, and the way you see the world is influenced by all those things coming up. And I won't go into it now. Maybe some podcast in the future I'll go into that and give you my full story. which will explain to a lot of people. You'll understand exactly why, like the way I am. But the majority of people that grew up here have had it easy. And when you have something like, let's go back to the 2000 Sydney Olympics. I was in Sydney in 2000 Olympics. I was a kid coming out of school, and I just started labouring, on construction sites. There was just a lot of that going on. And you have opportunities again, like the LNG boom that we had here with all that development, with the Gladstone LNG project and all that sort of stuff. Now we've got it again with the Brisbane Olympics. You will be left behind if you haven't got that mongrel in you, and that's the same as a worker as it is for a business owner, as it is for someone who just wants to create something now and go full steam ahead. If you haven't got that mongrel in you, it's not going to work.
I agree.
It's just not going to work.
And that's why sport for a lot of people is a good relation, and that's why I introduced the boxing time, because I feel like it does relate to life a lot. Like I use a lot of expressions like bite down the mouth guard when things are bad, I'm on the ropes and things like that, because it's relatable. It's what you're doing right now. You're fighting out the corner and stuff like that. And I think it's really important. Other way, I'm just thinking, you talk about 2012. I remember my first job, I get sent to the mines, and
over WA?
No, I was in Gladstone. And I was on 75 grand a year. And I genuinely, when I remember walking out with that offer, thought I was the highest paid guy on that job. That was a humbling moment when I found out that there was labourers spotting machines, 3.5 grand a week they're taking home. And I'm just like, what is this country I'm in?
Yeah, you're right. It's full of opportunity, and it's there to be taken. But it's all up to you. It really is. So let's go back to, you mentioned before, you bring out a lot of people from the UK, engineers. Let's get controversial, shall we?
Hit me.
Because there's so many attitudes flying around about immigration at the moment. What people, and I've got a unique seat here. I think just so people know, I've done some work in agriculture as well. So mining resources is the background, engineering it's the background. I've done more recently in recent years agriculture. I've been out to remote places and work with those businesses. That industry alone has 200,000 vacancies we can't fill. And what we've done is we've created visa types that we go from all the Pacific Island nations, and we plug people and put them here to operate our farms, so we can just feed ourselves and clothe ourselves. People have no idea that's the real situation. Now, let's go back to this GLNG project stuff that was happening. I was working for Santos, which were the main player in that project back then with that GLNG project, and their skill set to even think about an LNG plant didn't exist in Australia. It didn't exist, but there's this multi-billion dollars of opportunity that if we don't act on it, we lose it. And so we have to bring in from Qatar, from Iran, from the Emirates, all these engineers that know how to do it. I'm guessing with the amount of volume of opportunities, infrastructure, civil, rail, water, all that sort of stuff in your world, they're not here, right?
Yeah, that's bang on. And I was at the QMCA yesterday, and
which is the
Queensland Major Contractors Association, and they were doing the pipeline report for the next 5 years of work. And a misconception that everybody's got, including I've had it for years, is the Olympics is coming, the boom is on, because everything's for the Olympics. There's 127.5 billion to be spent in 5 years in Queensland on infrastructure engineering projects. You take off the Olympics from that, it's 120 billion.
Wow.
That is a drop in the ocean of the opportunity investment into this country. So I understand there'll be knock-on effects with jobs into the Olympics, but I think everyone just thinks it's Olympics. That's why we're spending money. Like, it's so far from the truth. And when they showed, I won't get into the stats and details, I'll leave that for the smart people in me, but they did run some of the boards of, there's such a gap, like to facilitate and deliver them jobs. We're even miles off, miles off. I'd say like some of them are like less than half or a quarter of the demand we need. We're trying to obviously boost efficiency and procurement and these things, but people is what's needed. And I'm not saying immigration is the answer, by the way. I'm not saying that's the whole answer, but you need to support that the best you can for the right reasons. I see a lot of these marches and stuff. I won't get into that argument. I won't open it. But when I talk to some people about it, they go, but we don't mind the UK and Ireland and Scotland. Yous are fine. you can't differentiate. Like immigration's immigration. Like if you need people for this country that are supporting the country and actually putting back into the country, then immigration is a great tool. Thankfully, for my business, we've got a very good connection and we've got a great pipeline of engineers coming in. The last 12, 24 months, I think we've brought on like 50 engineers from the UK.
Yeah.
Again, drop in the ocean to what they need, but we've got that pipeline coming because it's needed and it's coming.
Yeah, so I mean, it's skilled immigration, right? That's the thing. If our government of the day, because don't get me wrong, of course you'd be right in assuming that I'm more to the right than I am to the left. Absolutely, I am. But both sides of the government that we have here have done wrong by Australians in terms of industrial relations and future planning with workforce planning and modelling and that sort of thing. They don't know what they're doing, right? They're just bad at it. But they've got to be able to join the dots, which is what do we need in terms of skill sets, and let's open the gates for that. I think that's the main issue when we hear people complain about immigration at the moment, which isn't right. That's right. But what do you find most difficult then, bringing people in from another place into an environment which is, frankly, many people say, and I say, and legal minds say, this is the most complicated and complex industrial relations framework in the world to try and work within. Do people coming in here to work with you often go, what the fuck's going on here? How does this work?
They all talk about there's a lot of red tape. They all talk about, like, especially in the construction industry, there's
red tape galore.
Well, I would even call it green tape nowadays because it seems like everything environmental, and hopefully I don't get shot for saying that, but there's so much tape to do anything, and there's so many permit systems and procedures. Like, I'm all for safety, but you can't complain about zero or a lack of efficiency, but then make everything so hard and the approval time phrase. And then we go back to, I think the first thing I said about business owners. You see people in a room, I've done this job for 30 years. Doesn't mean you've been doing it right for 30 years. And the other problem we've got a big gap in the market, major projects. They are very, I found over here, some of my clients are very good now. They're actually real open to overseas, particularly UK, because it is very similar, same language and things like that. But they're like, oh, they're green, so they have to start at the bottom of the food chain, which I disagree with, but obviously we roll with that. But just because someone's been here for 10 years doesn't mean they should be running a major job, because that's going to cause you bigger dramas. And I think they need to be more open to that side of it. And I'm not also saying that someone from the UK should walk into a senior position, but my saying is they shouldn't have to start over again, because you try to promote jobs, promote like a better environment for everybody, then just be open and support one another.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, there's, especially because other parts of the world are so much more advanced than we are in many industries, many sectors. And we still what we say to them when they come here is, sorry, you don't meet our qualification framework, so we don't trust you. When in fact, what's actually happening inside companies, and I know this, and many companies, especially in construction, is that these people who aren't qualified under Australian qualifications and frameworks and things are teaching the tradespeople here about how to do things better. If it's good enough for the private sector to identify high quality knowledge and understanding and work, then why I don't see why our regulators can't learn a lesson and say, well, what is the better standards? Who does work better? And I'll give you an example. This might be an obscure one for people out there, but the lift industry, right? There's over in the UK, you can be a lift engineer. That's actually a role and a qualification, and because a lift is sort of 20% electrical work and 80% mechanical work, elevators and escalators. I'm talking about, right? But you've got to be in Australia. You've got to be an trained, trade qualified electrician,
and then move into that field
and go in there. But it's only 20% of the job. But we're not interested in making a lift qualification. So what that does is that it means that our own workforce trying to service this big industry is not qualified and suitable for the work. So we're bringing in people from overseas who do have that qualification, but they can't do the work here because they don't have the Australian qualification framework. So that's an obscure example. But there's numerous examples of that.
There's one. You just because you said that, it's reminded me, so I'll probably shift for this one as well. TMR, Department of Transport and Main Roads, they fund majority of the infrastructure jobs in Queensland. They have got a pre-qualified system for people, for personnel, key people on a job. And it is the most bizarre, non-normal thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
So, for example, we put in the pre-calls every quarter and we try and put people forward for it. I get knocked back as a site engineer. So they said I wasn't experienced enough to be a site engineer on a TMR job right now. Granted, some people might agree to that, right? But it just blows my mind. But whereas a few years ago I worked on a job, and you can still work on the job, just not nominated under the contract. I was leaving and the client said, we'll get you PM certification tomorrow, like just to stay. If that's how easy it is, why am I getting knocked back 6 years later as a site engineer? And what it's doing is it's holding back the pool of opportunity they've got for these major jobs, which right now with all the money spent, they should have the best people in them roles to manage it because it is taxpayers' money. And recently I've done work with another a client recently, and they had one of the best PMs I've ever worked with, and he was pretty frustrated because he'd been offered to go to a job, but TMR wouldn't approve him, even though he's done 10 years as a PM on major projects in Australia, New South Wales. You've never done a TMR job, so you can't come here unless you work under a PM, which is not cost efficient for anyone or embarrassing for that bloke. So yeah, things like that. When I try to explain that to people coming off, like, why would that be a thing? I'm like, I don't know, it just is.
Exactly. And the word you said there is spot on. Holding back. You're holding back. You're not just holding back people from having opportunities and then give them a better life and be able to, a more meaningful job and work stuff. You're holding back the entire bloody country. Yeah. Because people smarter than you can do things better than you, but you refuse to acknowledge it and allow it to happen. And this is just typical of what we do. And I said to you before this, I'm not going to drag you down a union chain rabbit hole here.
Go.
You don't have to say anything about it, right? But make no mistake about it. The power of the union movement in Australia, which is I think at its peak right now. It was quite dormant for decades because people were frankly sick of it, right? Back a few decades ago, it was strong as well. But the amount of ridiculous shit that comes out of that movement that influences government and structure and systems, which is happening today, that's the cause of it. Yeah. That's the cause of it, right? We had a productivity roundtable 3 months ago. What the fuck happened there? Have you heard anything new? It's lip service for the government of the day to say we're serious about productivity. We've got to act on it. We've got to have a big round table and talk about it and bring the union movement in to sit at that table. What a fucking joke that is, right? Yeah. But then 3 months on, inflation's back up again and we've heard nothing more about productivity. And you just mentioned there, that is productivity. That's anti-productive systems and regulatory frameworks. And that's not even a law. That's just an internal policy inside a government department that says, well, this person can't work there because I said so. Yeah. That's just stupid. I'll stop the rant now.
No, that's
you can comment on that if you like.
Yeah, I won't talk about specific union stuff. And coming from the UK and particularly Scotland, we were pro-unions growing up. Yeah. I won't give away my stance nowadays, but what I don't like is just people taking the piss. And as a business owner, productivity going down affects your cash flow, it affects everything, risk the business, something you're working hard to grow. And I've seen personally on multiple jobs recently and a few years ago of the power they have to just stop shit just for the sake of a power trip. That's what I don't agree with. If you're protecting the guys and you're putting the guys forward, I'm there every day of the week because I'm as a PM on a job, that is my responsibility and I'll always take that. But shutting down a job because you went out the toilets and the hand soap had ran out that day only, they ran out and then the job shut, you're just taking the piss. And that's why I'm just like, doesn't sit well with me. Stick to what matters and everybody will support it.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. I should clarify too, in my younger days, growing up, I was from a very low socioeconomic family who banged on about unions and that side of the workplace or workforce. That's who you side with. That's who supports you. That sort of stuff. I I grew up and I saw the world very differently when I entered the workplace, and I've worked in construction for a long time, mining, that's the places. I've been around these unions, I'm anti-dickhead. That's what I am.
Yeah, it's a good policy.
Yeah, if you I've had plenty of union members come to me to say, I need your help. I've gone to the union, they're not helping me, and it's because the complaint is against other union members. So they hide things when it suits them, and they'll prosecute you for something else. And a good example there you raised there of hand soap running out, and we stopped work. When I was in coal, the Milo tin ran out. 1,000 people sat down and didn't move. Right, but it was on purpose.
Yeah,
it was
on
purpose to cause a problem during negotiations.
It's a reminder of the power. That's what it is.
Yeah, and people out there that you might have a unionized workplace or particularly unionized industry, but you got to understand this is real, right? These stories, this is the ridiculousness, and why it affects you is because these are primary industries. Primary export industries, agriculture, mining, resources, construction, civil stuff. This is stuff that pushes our country forward, and the cost of running them 30 to 50% higher because of this silliness that goes on in those industries, protected by the government of the day if they're that way aligned. So it's important that you know about this. I know you might be sick of hearing me talking about unions, but it's important. You've got to have a voice and understand the impact it does actually have on you as a knock-on effect.
Yep.
What's the biggest challenge you have with work? I guess workforce wise, is there anything that you sort of always consistently come up against?
Workforce or business? Business is cash flow, like every business. Either rains or it pours. So
in your industry, especially, huh?
100%. And things always go very well, and then for no reason at all, everybody doesn't pay in the same week, but you're still paying your guys and stuff like that. So I'm dealing with that at the moment, and a few other things, but that's all good. That's what we signed up for. That's the pros and cons argument again. The other one is with the growth of people within the business as well. So I'm just struggling. I done a post last week about that. I used to be the people's guy. I'd go to everybody. I'd be talking to people. On a Friday, I'd meet 3-4 people and have coffees and catch up and stuff like that. Now I just feel like I'm not got no time. That's definitely not the expression, but I feel time poor.
Yeah.
And even though I've got more of a structure in place now than I've ever had, where's my time gone? Like I still don't have any time. So I think it's just I like to show the love because I want to make sure people want to continue to turn up every day for the badge kind of thing. And the people way in the business, in the industry wise, I would just say relationships are absolutely everything, and that goes for every sense of life. But I just feel like the no dickhead policy is very good. Just be honest, be straight shooter. It might not be the answer everybody wants to hear or need, but definitely need. But they don't want to hear it. But you need to be honest, and people will respect you for it. Maybe not at the time, but if they know if he says something because he genuinely believes it and that's the way it is at that point in time, then I think people are going to be more receptive to you in future.
Yeah. But what sort of pressure does the cost of salaries put on you?
They're going up pretty hard at the moment. So we've been doing a lot of tenders recently for panels for councils. So we do Townsville City Council, Mackay, the places like this come out and put a tender out, and they want us to fix rates for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how you might do that because you either got to price yourself out the market or you got to go bust in about a year's time when the 500,000 jobs that need to be taken are getting taken and you've got no one for a job. Like I just that scares me a little bit about committing to stuff like that. We've obviously got some exclusions and things around that, but the wages are going up, but projects do pay for it at the moment, I suppose. So like I'm not crying poverty at the moment with it, but I do see the next few years it's going to get ridiculous.
Do you get like much cost plus arrangements or?
Yeah, most of my jobs at the moment are that arrangement.
You kind of have to, right?
Yeah, it's for my nature of the beast. It's what we do. We don't fully deliver a package yet. We're just the management team that's on there. So usually day rates is how we operate. So it works well when you get paid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. We kind of have to, we there's a business we work with, and I won't mention names here, not at all. But there were questions around, there's a big project, it was a Hutchie's project, and do we take on this project knowing that we have to have a CFMU arrangement and that sort of thing? And the advice is in that scenario, don't. But if you want to, then do it. And if you want to, then make sure you're going to make a lot of bloody money out of it, because at the end of it, you're going to have a hard time trying to break away from that. That arrangement, was a cost plus arrangement. I'm like, in that world, sign up, take it on, because but just be prepared that at the end of that project, you're going to have to lose all that workforce and start again, maybe in a new entity or something like that, because that union will not let you go. So and that's a construction sector thing. I think it's and you're right, because there are so many influences in your world that impact cost. 153 changes by the ALP to industrial relations and power to unions, cost of salaries, record increases every year, above inflation increases last year. All this stuff impacts everyone's wages, right? Obviously, and their compliance burdens. And construction had 3-5 year projects.
It's hard to even that.
Trying to forecast
4% CPI over it as a 2%. It's like a drop in the ocean, man. It's not helping anybody. But just on that, probably the top of challenges, it would be getting Southeast Queensland's got a bit of a boom coming, which is good. But when I first came here, I'm not just talking about me, but I was told to go to places like Gladstone. I went there, no questions asked. I was then told I was going to a place called Dingo. I thought it was a stitch shop. I'm like, is this just a joke? Because I'm the non-local. I went there, no phone reception for like 9 days of the 10. You just do what you need to do, especially at a young age. I do feel like the younger lads and girls nowadays, I need to be home at 4 o'clock on a Thursday for yoga, and I want every second Saturday off. And it's like, and even recently I've had a project, I won't mention the project, demand, because of the pressure and the politics around it, everybody's working every second weekend. These guys get paid to work weekends, and they're like, how do I work? And I'm like, I would have bit the hand off you if I get paid that, because I was on a salary, and my salary at the time, you get paid weekends, you get to turn up and smile. So it's that. I get the work-life balance. I'm all for it, but when you sign up for careers like this, that you have to earn your stripes.
100%. You have to. It's a hard one. It is a hard one, because even now when I've advertised to hire people for this role, I've got people with 2-3 years experience that want to get paid more than someone who's got 15 years experience. They also want to work 3 days from home. And they've never worked in consulting before. They've got no idea what modern awards look like. They've just worked in-house in 4 walls, and they don't realise that you step in this world and you don't know a thing. I've got to train you. I need you here by my side, and it's like, and so what if we get a call one day when we've got a fatality on site, and we're the outsourced HR provider. We've got to deploy emergency situations. We've got to run communications for people, and you're not going to come in, because that's what I need you to do. It's a hard one to try.
That work from home destroys me. I despise it. I don't work from home. So I don't expect anyone else to work from home. And I know there's an argument for it. I get the efficiency with travel and all that, but if you're not sitting with the people you're working with, you lose that rapport. You lose, and even them little small conversations. That you want to phone people constantly. The amount of things you miss when you're not there. And I even say to some of the guys who maybe work from the office, not on site, I'm like, get to site, just get in amongst people, go for coffee with them. I don't care. Just be there, so they build that rapport, that they can have a chat to you rather than just this guy's phoning me for an answer.
100%. And it leads into how we almost started this conversation, which is the mental connection and the benefits of that connection. Because I'll tell you, I had a meeting with one of our clients just over the road here last week. They're like, you're a HR Cartel member, that we plug into them as their HR department. And they're 100% working from home. They got 5 seats in their office, and we had a conversation, and it's like, in matter of fact, the people in my team here, they want to work together. They want to. I'll let them have a couple of days from home if they so choose. I'll look through that window or walk past that other office, and there's 3 in there, and often they're away from the computers, facing each other, talking. Now the wrong manager will see that and go, "What the fuck are you doing? Get back to work."
Stop typing.
But I can't be happier, because the feedback I get from our members is, doesn't matter who I speak to, everyone knows what's happening. It's all on the same page. And it's because of that huddle. You can't get that through Teams.
Nah.
You can have organized conversations, but you can't just turn to each other and say, hey, what do you think here?
And when you talk about Teams, as a good example. See, when someone's on the screen with Teams, you're in a meeting room, you have the meeting, everyone's serious, you have to be small chat, how's your weekend, who's weather like, blah, blah. And then as soon as that meeting ends, you turn around to the person next to you, and then you start debriefing on the meeting, or you end up having a better meeting after the meeting, every single time. And that's like, not trying to get up people who are working from home, but I'm all about value. I don't care if someone's working 12 hours or 5 hours. If I get the value, I don't give a shit, right? But I remember a few years ago, I was working on inland rail down in New South Wales. During COVID, borders shut. I was there for 3 months straight. Did not leave. Got a good deal. I was happy with it, but never got home for 3 months. Finally got home and they actually said to me, just work from home for the next few months, start up the next job. My wife nearly checked me into a mental hospital. I was going crazy. And I was just, again, this is me, this is my experience. I was in my office, and if my wife even spoke to me, I'd be like, I'm at work. Like, do not talk to me in this wall. I'd be phoning people every 10 minutes. I could tell people are getting shits with me saying, what are you phoning me for? I was going crazy. And I'm just like, I was so unproductive. So again, I'm probably not a good example, but I just feel like that interaction with people.
I agree with you though. I can work from home, but I don't like it. I'm better in a workplace than I am at home. That's, for me, it's different things. That doesn't mean I impose what I think on everyone. But I'll finish on. I'll make one last point in the work from home thing, because I've probably done it to death over time. But I just don't think the government has any place at all stepping into any business and telling them your people must work from home, which is what's happening right now. Justice Hatcher, the president of the Fair Work Commission, is drafting the right to work from home in the Clerks Award, which is about 2 million employees, right? And that award covers all industries pretty much, but a few. That's a lot of damage they can do to small companies out there. And it's going to be damage. There's a hearing early next year to go through it, but it's coming, right? I just think it's up to the business, decide in the workplace how you design your jobs. The commission has no place inserting itself in there. I've got a list of the commissioners in their backgrounds. They're public sector, they're union, and very few of them are private sector. And even smaller number have ever started a company and know what it's like. You've got no position trying to design jobs in companies that you know nothing about. That's my position. You want to work from home? Fine. Does it work for your company? All good. If it doesn't, too bad. Go work somewhere else. It's kind of how I see it. But,
I agree.
Right, so look, we've been going for a while here, and I know you've got a lunch to get to. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but if someone wants to work with you, there's civil engineers or some sort of engineers that like the sound of you guys and what you do, that sort of stuff. What could they do? Is there opportunities for them, do you think? Or
absolutely, absolutely. So we're always expanding and growing. I'm big on personality over experience. I think people suit jobs rather than just because you're an amazing CV or you've got 50 years experience. I'm more about this person's a perfect fit for ABC. Always keen to chat to anyone, and I'm doing a lot of that at the moment. So anyone wants to reach out, please do.
We'll put your links to your websites and socials and things in the show notes for this episode as well. And what about clients? Let's say you got, we've got a whole range of different types of businesses that we work with, 46 different industries, and listeners of this, there's thousands of them. So, if there's clients out there that are in, is there areas that you will work in, won't work in, all over the country?
Yeah, we've got people in South Australia, Groot Island up in near Darwin, stuff. We cover everywhere. We're based in Brisbane, but that means nothing. Like we'll go where the work is. More aligned to working with good people and good clients nowadays. And we're working with the tier ones. We're working with the mum and dad businesses. We're happy to help. Like as long as it makes sense, we'll make it work.
Good. And I guess just some insight before I let you go and get on with your life. What sort of, is there lessons that you're learning now that are happening in your industry that you think people really need to be aware of and know about, sort of future threats or future influences that'll impact how the state's going to progress, that we should all be aware of and voting on and stuff like that when we go to the polls?
Yeah, well, Probably not the politics side. I'll back off that one for this conversation. But just generally, just we talk about dickhead policy and things. I'm a big believer. Be who you are. Don't put on a facade. Don't put on this image that you're someone else. And even if you have to drive a decision, but just back it and be yourself. And like I said, me personally, I'm big on respect. Like, we stand with me. There's no beating around the bush. And I think that goes a long way for a lot of people. It's going to be a very, very busy few years for everybody. Everybody can get some cake at the table, look after each other, and just be a good person.
Awesome. Anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I've talked to death. Yeah, I'm good.
You're also struggling from a head cold too, so I probably destroyed you.
Yeah. Make sure you get subtitles for everybody.
We'll do our best. I hope maybe you need AI to some translation. I'll tell you what, let's not get started on AI.
Oh, no, we've got all night.
I've got plenty of opinions about that too. We'll save that for next time. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. It's great to have you part of the HR Cartel. We want to see you kick massive goals. I know you got growth plan for next year and everything, and can't wait to see it happen. So thanks again.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Awesome. So everyone else that's listening, go to the show notes. There'll be links there for Paul's socials, the website. A reminder again, the Small Business Association of Australia. I'll be speaking down the 4th and 5th of December at the Gold Coast here. Get your tickets, get along for that. It's a discussion on the need for IR reform. The senators and federal ministers are also on the stage. So it'll be a good one to get to. And also 20th of November, this month, a few weeks away, the Coffee Commune in Brisbane, Bowen Hills. We've got Dominic Lamb. It's a HR Cartel sponsored event. We've paid for it. Just get on site, go to the show links, get on site and register for a seat, for as many seats as you need. There's about 40 left, I think. There's about 50 already gone. So thanks for coming along again. Until next time, keep a tight workplace. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.